Welcome back to the Gaming and Gaming Accessories Podcast. I'm
Holy
your
shit, we
host.
didn't just immediately drop it.
We didn't. We're back at it for episode 2 on this channel, 2026
What's your name
edition.
again?
I'm Garrett.
And what's my name again?
This is Ben.
Oh, right. Okay.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Hey,
So,
hey, hey. Whoa.
we got some gaming news for the week. The Steam Deck. As of recording this video, right now, like a couple hours ago, the Steam
Right
Deck
now, dude.
is back in stock.
Breaking
But
gaming news.
it might not be what you think. Google
Yes.
search,
Shock horror.
big update to Google search, fails epically. Ben, do you want to take some of the other topics?
Some people still say. Sure. Well, I mean, we're gonna talk about this a little more in depth, of course, but Witcher 3, you may have seen, is getting a new DLC, but it is also coming with new hardware requirements. At least for the game's minimum, which is very interesting. We're also going to, at least in our weekly recap, go over how the price of RAM is probably only going to keep rising. Everybody's favorite exciting thing, right? Everybody loves the raising price of RAM, as well as the seeming pivot away from live service games. Are we just going to try to cover everything we're going to talk about this episode, or we just?
We'll leave it at that for now. We got a couple other topics that we want to get into.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Steam Deck. Have you looked at the prices of the Steam Deck?
Now I have not.
Yes, because I just told you about it.
You have told me that they are. Yeah.
Well. What do you think the Steam Deck costs? So for reference, right, I'm going to tell you the prices that the Steam Deck used to cost.
I was going to say, I don't know the base price.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up Steam Deck OLED MSRP.
OLED?
Yeah, the Steam Deck OLED is the current one they make. They had a Steam Deck LCD.
Switch OLED?
Yeah, it's like the Switch OLED, but it's like,
Switch OLED.
I got the new MSRPs when I Googled it. I need the old ones. Okay. So, I almost said Switch OLED. You got that in my head. The Steam Deck OLED was $549 for the 512 gigabyte model and $649 for the 1 terabyte model. What do you think, now that they're back in stock? They were out of stock for a while. It was they haven't been in stock for a long time. How much do you think they cost?
I mean, given your I'm gonna bet against your reaction, because I don't think that's exactly fair. But I guess like what I would expect maybe is, given like the high degree of popularity and the high demand, as well as the increasing price of RAM and other components, I would say something like $100 price increase is believable. So like you said, the original price was what, 500 something?
$549 for the base 512 gigabyte, $649 for the 1 terabyte.
Maybe a little more than that, like maybe 150. But even then, that's kind of crazy. $700. I'll hedge a bet and say 100.
Because mind you, the hardware has aged. The hardware has aged.
Right.
It's been out for. I mean, we were talking about the Steam Deck.
What you're saying.
We were talking about the Steam Deck, like it being announced and released back when we were doing the podcast 4 years ago.
Right.
So it's about 4 years old.
I would still. I mean, maybe like 50 then, but I'd still say like 100.
Okay, so you're locking in your guess at $649 for the 512 gigabyte model and $749 for the 1 terabyte.
Yeah, that's still kind of crazy to me.
It is.
I wouldn't call that worth it. But
I don't think a lot of people would call it worth it, but I feel like there's other people who would. So, because they did go up when they were out of stock, they were like hard to get. So then there was a little bit of scarcity. So they were going for more on secondhand. So unfortunately, you were too low. And unfortunately, your guess for the 1 terabyte model is actually closer to what the 512 gigabyte model costs. The 512 gigabyte Steam Deck OLED is from $549 to $789.
Wow. Oh my.
The 1 terabyte OLED
89.
model is $949.
Holy shit.
Yes,
They
and
expect you to
this.
drop a little less than 1,000?
Oh, after tax, it's
Well,
you're
yeah,
in.
it probably is 1,000.
Yeah, you're in the 4-digit numbers here once you accompany for tax, depending on your location.
Dropped a brick on this
And
Steam Deck. Damn.
this is still the same 1280 by 800 OLED display, 90 hertz
Huh.
refresh rate, same processor, same 50 watt hour battery. Now, mind you, the Steam Deck, I am not criticizing the Steam Deck hardware. I
Sure.
it was back when we were in Florida. I bought a Lenovo Legion Go S
It's true.
SteamOS
And he kept
model.
trying to get me to buy his Steam Deck.
I do have a Steam Deck, which is now an
Which now
appreciating
does sound like a
asset.
great deal
Now-
via comparison.
I was gonna charge you like $400 for my Steam Deck OLED.
It's a lot better now.
Yeah. They were not going for this much secondhand, but now that they're back in stock, I assume the prices are going to adjust. So
Hmm.
I bought a Lenovo Legion Go S SteamOS edition, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte
Hmm.
SSD. Mind you, the Steam Deck, both of them have 16 gigabytes of RAM. They actually don't put the RAM on this this spec sheet, compare Steam Decks thing. Pretty sure it is 16 gigs of RAM across the product lineup. I got the 32 gig
Hmm.
RAM SteamOS. It's the only other device that officially runs SteamOS. I paid
Yeah.
$899 for that. And I noticed a couple months ago when I went back to the Best Buy website to look at it, because I went to the store and I double checked it on the website. Those are now going for like sold new for $1,550.
Oh my.
Yes,
Good.
and this was
That's
like a
crazy.
month or two ago, and I was like,
Right.
"Whoa, oh my goodness!" But I didn't think. Wait a minute, isn't this like this is already telling me this is what's to come with the Steam Deck 2? And as we
Right.
saw here,
Right. Yeah.
hardware is
And
expensive.
this isn't even Steam Deck 2. This is just Steam
This is Steam Deck
Deck
restock.
original again.
And the crazy
Yeah.
part is it's
Wow.
only because RAM is expensive and SSDs are expensive. Storage is so expensive. We were in Florida to keep talking about the Florida trip. We went to Best Buy
Yay, Florida.
to go look at storage, potential like getting an SSD
Right.
for our buddy's computer. And it was like
Mhm.
$400 for like a 2 terabyte. It didn't
Crazy.
used to be that way. It used to be like $100 for a 2 terabyte. I went to
Mhm.
Best Buy. I'm always going to Best Buy, I guess. I went to Best Buy.
It's true, actually.
And I was looking at just like what they had, and behind the counter, I saw an SSD, a 4 terabyte Samsung 990. It's a Gen 5, best of the best SSD. 4 terabytes is a lot. It was $1,400.
Oh.
Actually
Yeah.
more expensive than an RTX 5080. Like brand new. That card was retail. The MSRP suggested manufacturer suggested retail price was $1,000, but generally 5080s they go for anywhere from 12 to upper 1300s. Some of the higher end models that are like gaming. This is the Asus Republic of Gamers Gold Edition. Some of those will go for like 1,500, but a good price for a 5080 is like $1,200 to $1,200 because it's higher than MSRP, but also everything's higher than MSRP. MSRP is fake at this point, dude.
Yeah.
Suggested retail price. The key word there being suggested. They don't have to charge that.
Basically. I will say, we have at least two things from the last episode that do align with this. And one, we were definitely right on the line of gaming becoming more and more of a luxury because I mean, handheld isn't what most people, especially who are starting out, are going to go for, I would say, unless you're
Right.
going for a Switch. Um, but that is just in my mind, that's a crazy price. And obviously with things like inflation, but a lot of, it's not like the amount people are getting paid is necessarily adjusting with inflation. So that's still a ton of money, I think, for most people, uh, to drop on a pretty good to decent handheld. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the Steam
Um,
Deck is solid. The Steam Deck feels good in the hand. The Steam Deck,
yeah,
that OLED display, despite being 1280 by 800, so 800p or whatever you want to call it, it's still
yeah,
an OLED. It's still like 90 hertz. Sure, it's not 120 that you'll get on the Lenovo Legion Go or the Go S, like the 120
but it
hertz
also is more
1080p.
price.
Right. The other one is more expensive. Um, so it's not the best of the
But we do.
best. You can go spend way more, but the Steam
Oh,
Deck
well,
was
sure.
still
But
good.
now, yeah, now you have to spend way more.
Yeah, that's
Um, which
wow.
means we do kind of have to eat crow on our good guy Steam thing. Uh,
I don't think it's Steam's
not to
fault
say
though,
it's not exactly their fault. Don't get me wrong, but it's certainly going to impact, I feel, their reputation to some degree.
to some degree, but they were out of stock. They
No,
went
no,
out of
I
stock
know,
around the
but I mean,
time that the hardware shortage or the hardware
right?
Ramageddon, I like to call it, hit. And we were like, oh, Steam Decks probably aren't going to come back in stock because they're going to be so expensive. They're back, but
It's true.
you're
They did
you're
at least
paying
do that, but
hardware
I
prices.
still feel like I don't know. Steam has for a long time kind of maintained this image of being a cut above the rest, either through one means or another, and this is rather lumping them with the rest, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it is certainly
No,
a
yeah.
probably going to be a change in their public perception.
It will affect it, but I think most people who
Oh, that's gonna kill
understand
it.
what's
Don't get
going
me.
on,
Yeah,
we're going to see
sure,
this.
sure.
We've seen it with the consoles going up in price. We talked about that last week. We've seen everything is going up. If it's a
I mean, most
computer,
times
if
the
it has
industry
RAM, it's
stays
going up.
stable in spite of changes.
They try. Like I remember PlayStation
Yeah,
made
yeah.
deals upon Ramageddon starting. PlayStation made deals to try and keep prices down. Laptop manufacturers
Mhm.
were making contracts to at least last them a year to keep the prices better. But eventually that stock and those contracts are going to run out. And they're going to have to make new contracts with the RAM manufacturers and the storage manufacturers.
Mm.
And those new contracts are going to be at new prices. This sucks. this
Yeah.
this sucks, man. But we don't have to harp on this for too long. Steam Deck,
No, we
new
do.
prices are out. I saw that a couple hours ago. One of my coworkers came up to me and was like, "Hey, are you still trying to sell your Steam Deck?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably. You know anyone?" And he said, "Are you selling it for pre
Me.
or post price increase?" And I said, "What do you mean price increase?" Then he comes over to me because he's texting me on Discord. Then he walks over and he's like, "Look at this." And then he shows me his phone. And I'm like, $949 for a Steam Deck.
And then his eyes popped out of his head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like like that was crazy. I'd never seen that, but also it makes more sense on why I was like, why was my Lenovo Legion Go out at Best Buy for like $1,500? That seems really stupid. And then I look at this and I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
guess that's just what they cost now. But
Yeah.
we can we can swap into another topic. But before we do that, I just want to mention we talked about the Steam machine last week, and I didn't put my
Sure.
guess in. I guess I'm glad I didn't, but I actually have it written with a couple of my coworkers. We were trying to guess what the Steam machine would cost, and one of my coworkers guessed $899 for the base 512 gigabyte. Now this is the
Mm.
full PC, not a handheld.
Right.
And I said no, I think it's going to be more. I said like 950 for the base, but looking at this, I think I'm wrong. I think it's gonna. I think we don't know the price of the Steam machine yet. Valve has not told us for a good reason because they don't know. They announced it before Ramageddon and Storage Mageddon or whatever you want to call it. And then this happened, and Valve has been like, oh. So all we know is that they're shipping. There's been reports of like a shipping container, 20,000 units of something to Valve came into the country. So we know it's soon, but we still don't know what it's going to cost. So
yeah,
I'm going to put it on record, certified GGA podcast pricing prediction. I think the Steam Machine 512 gigabyte will cost $13.50. I could be overshooting. And then I'm going to put in my 1 terabyte guess. I'm going to base it on the fact that they're valuing the SSD on the Steam Deck as $60 difference. So if I'm saying $350, I'm going to put in my guess at $1,500 for the 1 terabyte. What do you think, Ben?
Wait and see, I suppose. Great question.
What's your guess? What's your certified
honestly,
GGA?
I might just say a lot of money.
A lot of money. That's fair. For reference, and I know you probably don't know or want to know what any of this means. It's got like a Ryzen 5 equivalent, something like a 7600 mobile. It's not a very powerful PC, but it's still the size of a cube. It's like a 6x6 cube. It's the Gabe cube, so there's definitely going to be a premium for that. Expensive is a good answer, though. That's your GGA certified guess is expensive.
Yep, that's my coward guess.
And if you
so I
love
won't be wrong, that's
gaming,
definitely going to be right.
And you want a Steam machine, I don't even want to know what this headset's going to cost at this point. Pick a different hobby, or better hope that it's not expensive for you.
Yeah.
Next topic: Google search fails epically.
Epic fail.
Epic fail. Epic fail.
Eric
so
fail.
I'll introduce this one. You are Mr. Witcher, so you're going to go into the Witcher 3 topic next. So basically, this is a short topic. I just thought it was really funny. I wanted to bring it up, and it happened this week. Epic AI fail because Google did what they were calling one of their biggest updates to their search engine in the past decade, and it was a big AI overhaul. The issue that arose was if you Googled the word disregard, it took it as an AI command and crashed the search engine. All it came back with was, okay, I will await your next prompt, because it was interpreting it as disregard my previous entries. And there were other queries that would just break it. Now, Google says they're working on a fix. I think they might have already fixed it by the time we're talking about this now. And by the time you're listening, they probably definitely fixed it. Because I tried it earlier before we started recording, and it didn't work. So, looks like they fixed it. But just, that's so funny, right? A lot of people don't like. Do you, let me ask you, do you like when you punch something into the Google search and you get an AI overview first?
I will say, I'd be lying to say that I haven't found it useful on occasion. Sometimes I just look something up and I read what it says, and it's like, you know what, that sounds right. Because I think that's a lot of the time when it's something I mostly know, I'm willing to go for that. Like if I'm checking myself on a historical fact, or if I'm otherwise looking into something that I'm familiar with, but I just don't exactly remember, or, especially if it's something purely fact, that would be easy, for AI to get. But a lot of the time it is annoying to look up, try to find a recipe for something to make, and then it's like Gemini is trying to get me recommend all these different things that, you can make this, you can make that. And it's like, I can look for myself. When it's middlemanning, I find it very annoying, but when it's, finding you a solution quicker, I can admit that it is useful, although I still do sometimes feel like that solution is more dubious than, say, if I just went and found it even on just Reddit or something. I
Right.
trust that more than I would Gemini.
Because the big thing about generative AI models that I think a lot of people, some people don't know this, they can be really good for a starting point, but generative AI models succeed more when with iterative refinement. And
Yeah.
that is looking at its output and talking back to it and giving it feedback and saying, well, actually, you didn't consider this. Redo that, but consider this. Or redo that, but only source this from here. Or giving it a role like this. We could go down the rabbit hole of what's called prompt
Yeah. Yeah.
engineering, which is just the fancy
Hmm.
name for writing a good prompt to an LLM, because ultimately it's a neural network of related words. So dog is close to bark, tree is also close to bark, but not necessarily the same context in every scenario.
Yeah.
So an AI could be really confidently wrong if not given
True.
enough context. And when most of us Google search things, we're not super specific. We're not saying I am looking to cook this specific thing with this specific ingredients and I wanted to have it done in this specific amount of time. And AI is really with all that information, it's going to be able to give you better output. But most of the time when we do a Google search, we're very broad because we're looking for articles. We are looking to sift through the results and find what's
Hmm.
most relevant to us. And I've had conversations with people where I say, "Oh, well, why don't you look that up real quick?" They look it up, they tell me, and I'm like, did you just get that off of Gemini, like straight off?" Yeah. You should probably double check that.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree that generative AI LLMs. So I want to preference that when we say AI, we're talking about like generative chatbots can be a very
Yeah.
helpful research tool and a brainstorm tool. The common person who uses Google is going to take everything it says as fact because it's going to be like, well, it was the first result on Google.
Yeah. Yeah. Google does definitely have a lot of trust that they could potentially squander if they do keep just forcing AI into people's faces. It's so strange to me that they just wouldn't compromise a little and just say, okay, you can just turn it off. You don't care about it, you don't have to care about it.
They have a
But
tab, like just like they have the Google Images tab, they have an AI mode tab, but it
no, I know, but that's
defaults.
more. You're going to get it anyway. But there's a tab
Yeah.
where you can have it all the time. Like
Yes.
that's the opposite.
Yeah. What they should do, I think, is if you want to talk to the AI, have the AI mode tab. Sure, you don't
Right,
have to
right.
put it on every search query.
It is interesting how many, how I guess generally just how many platforms are becoming more forceful almost, and I guess because they can. But I mean, obviously YouTube's a great example of just, which is also Google to be fair, but just the heightened proliferation of ads, like just sticking them in more places constantly to further and further pressure you into like saying, "All right, I'm done. I don't want to see anymore. I'm going to give you more money directly instead of giving you more money indirectly by viewing ads."
Right.
So you still win out.
And they even
Or
broke a lot of ad blockers.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then like it's one of those things. Red blockers are a bit of a gray area, but still, it's just so much more pushy.
Right. I
But I mean, I
think
guess that's just the trend. We're gonna see more of it.
I have mixed opinions on ad blockers because one, they keep you safe on the internet because there are so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
intrusive ads that not only bog down your system but also
Right.
can carry malware. I'm not going to say that
Oh, sure.
specifically for YouTube, but you can go to
Right, right.
websites that are riddled with ads and they can carry malicious packages if clicked on, right?
Hmm.
For the average person, if you don't have like, oh, my computer doesn't automatically download things, but some people, some they do. I think I run an ad blocker. I am also a YouTube
Hmm.
Premium subscriber because
Right.
I don't want to. It's kind of a pain in the butt to set up ad blockers on mobile phones and TVs.
Well,
You could
sure.
do like a network wide one and do all that kind of stuff. But I love YouTube Premium, not only just for the ads, the background play on my phone and stuff like that, but I'm not going to sit here and sell YouTube Premium. I do think that when you're watching a service like YouTube, it is a transaction. I am either A, watching this ad to get this content, or B, paying for
Mhm.
YouTube Premium to get this content.
Right.
Some could say that's why it is a gray area. Some could say
Mhm.
that I think Linus Tech Tips called ad blockers on YouTube piracy. I think that's an extreme. That's an extreme
Yeah, it's a little
take,
hard
and a
line.
lot of the internet disagrees. But I do agree with his take that it is transactional. When you open up a YouTube video, if you block the ad and the ad doesn't show, that creator did not get their portion for that view. They did not get paid for that
Mm.
view. So, in a way, you are going around the transaction. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak
Obviously,
on
I mean, as a creator. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Really off
I'm not
topic.
a I'm not a big YouTube moneymaker. So at the end of the day,
What?
I
Not
don't
yet.
care.
Not yet.
Not yet. But dude, I'm gonna change my opinion once we get big. I'm gonna be like, if you use an ad
Yeah,
blocker,
dude. You're gonna
if you
turn
use an ad
around. You're gonna
blocker,
sell out.
we here at
Yep.
the GGA podcast, we hate that. We hate that.
In advance.
We hate that. But you can use it on other people's videos, just not mine.
Yeah, sure.
Right. All right. You wanna talk on the Witcher 3 stuff?
Yeah, sure. Um. So, admittedly, I actually heard some buzz about this a while ago. I kind of just dismissed it because, I mean, as many people probably know, when a game is done, even when a game isn't done, let's say, there's always going to be more. Like, I mean, I think I've seen plenty of the same for Cyberpunk, where it's like, but what if they did do another DLC after they explicitly stated they weren't doing another DLC? Uh, because people want more of their game, and obviously, you're always going to get news channels on YouTube who want to share this and get more views because it's like, oh, holy crap, there's going to be more. Um, but I'd heard something about this a while ago, and people were saying that there was, like some kind of registration by CD Projekt Red or something, one of those early warning signs that they were about to do something. And personally, I had kind of bet against it, honestly. I because they've done DLC before that is more just like extra add-on stuff. Like for people who are more familiar with Cyberpunk, maybe they gave you like those different skins for Johnny after the game released, or they added other like little content like that and called it DLC. But it's just extra stuff. It isn't like a proper expansion to the game's content. However, um, just today on Steam and everywhere else, they've announced Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Songs of the Past,
Yep.
which is they've dubbed specifically not a DLC, not just extra content, but a brand new expansion for a game that came out in 2015, at least on PC. Which, I mean, first off, just to say, is crazy to me because I don't. Most games, kind of like we talked last time, have this DLC that they set aside as like maybe ideas they didn't get to before they finished development, or maybe ideas that they purposefully sequestered so they could release later and get more money. Um, but this is totally out of left field to see a company more than 10 years later make not just DLC, but story content to continue a story that most people have already been done with
Right.
for at least since like the final DLC came out back in, I believe it was like 2018. Let me check myself.
This is a lot different than day one DLC. Quite the opposite.
It's strange. It's interesting. Yeah, the last DLC for the major story content came out in 2016, a year after it released. And now we are just about into 12 years after it released.
Wow.
To think you could come back to it, but I guess the more relevant thing, aside from how just strange a phenomena that um, is the fact that this update, not only is it coming in 2027, which means that'll be a full probably 13 years after the game is released. Um, but it's also coming with a new set of hardware requirements
Now my
for not
interest
only the
has been
DLC but for the base game.
yes, and I'm looking at it right now. This is not an insubstantial like jump. I don't know if you
It's
have the
I
specs
don't
in
get me
front of you.
wrong. I will before we start talking. I will say Witcher 3, in my personal opinion, is a phenomenal game. The whole Witcher series is really, really good stuff, just in terms of gameplay, writing, etc. And like, obviously, that opinion is so, how do you say, not ununique that I hardly need to say it because everybody's been talking about Witcher 3 forever now. But still, to see, I mean, just to start, they're not, I mean, not forcing, but they're bringing the hardware requirement up to Windows 11, which they
Right.
haven't done yet.
Yes. Before it
Of
was
course,
Windows
official
7 or
Microsoft
Windows
support.
8.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, you could say this, but official Microsoft support ended for Windows 11 a while ago, or Windows 10 a while ago,
Yep, it was
right?
October. It officially went end of life in October of 25 last year.
Yeah. And as well, I mean, just to keep going down the list of things they've officially said, anyhow, um, is they're going to require the use of an SSD, which is going to become more interesting because, I mean, we just mentioned the fact that RAM and SSDs are both continuing to go up. And of course, a lot of people probably have upgraded by now, but that could be a pretty steep price increase to play
Yeah,
a game you already own.
right. And it's not insignificant. Like the old specs here say 50 gigabytes available space. Could be whatever. Could be a hard
Yeah,
drive, could be whatever. Now it's saying 70 gigabyte SSD is the new minimum
yeah.
specs. I saw Forza Horizon 6 also had this requirement. Funnily enough, last night we were playing Forza with a buddy, and he accidentally installed it on his hard drive, and he was saying things like,
Yeah.
"Man, the game is stuttering. The load times are awful." Because he asked us, "Hey, how are the load times in this one?" Because the load times in Forza Horizon 5 were awful, and we were like, "Oh, they're quick. They're great. This game is super optimized." And he was like, "I am not having that experience." We found out it was because it was on his hard drive. Forza as well had the SSD requirement, but
Yeah.
unless they implement a checker, I don't think they have anything that can stop you from loading it on a hard drive. I think the only thing
Yeah.
that you'll run into is it will not run good.
It won't run well. Yeah. Then they won't, be there to help you if you say this isn't running well.
Yes, hard drives. I'm looking at this article. Hard drives will no longer be supported because SSDs are just so much better, is what this person says here writing
Yeah.
this article.
I mean, they're not exactly
But I'm
wrong.
wondering what they mean by no longer being supported. Does that mean it won't run at all on an SSD? Because there are some games, like Indiana Jones, will not run
Hmm,
on a system that doesn't have ray tracing capability. So a
really?
non
Huh.
RTX
I didn't know
card,
that.
anything older than the RTX 2060, cannot launch Indiana Jones
Weird.
because it's got required ray tracing built in.
Another thing, another one little feature to mention is exclusively run using DirectX 12,
Yes,
which
which
honestly is still a problem for some people. I think being able to use DirectX 12 over a different version, right?
that's what's pushing this hardware bump, is because older cards don't have DirectX 11 or don't have DirectX 12 support. So DirectX 11
Hmm.
support is being dropped because DirectX 12, according to CD Projekt Red, allows, and this is a quote, allows us to support ongoing technical improvements and modern hardware more
Yeah,
efficiently.
I saw that, and that's interesting. Basically, at least the way that reads to me is we're doing this so we can keep ahead of the game. Not to
DirectX
say we don't
12
give a shit
is
about
much
you,
better.
but like, oh well, sure.
Most games will run will prefer you run DirectX 12 because if you want to get the most out of your hardware rather than running the
Right.
legacy DirectX 11. But there are still a lot of games that support DirectX 11.
Right. A lot of games give you the option to choose between like that, or maybe even Vulkan or something other like that.
Yep. Vulkan's very good
It's
on
certainly a
Linux.
change, though.
So, what I want to speak on is the difference in the parts here. And I think this is just driven by the DirectX 11 to 12. I don't think this is like driven by the actual rasterization, aka raw hardware performance needed for the game. So, looking at the minimum specs for the new update, actually, let's start with the old ones. So, I'm seeing here CPU, Intel Core i5 2500K or AMD A10 5800K APU. So those are very old processors. Let's see, i5 2500K release date was January 2011. So this is relevant hardware to when the game came out. This was mid-range to like this was what gamers were running back in 2011 if they were buying new hardware.
Yeah.
Probably not the AMD A-series chips. Those were not very good. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 660 or AMD Radeon HD 7870. Those are old cards. Let's see. GTX 660 release date 2012. Okay. September of 2012. So again, it was, and the 60 series has always been the mid-range. So that was a mid-range card at the time. Mid-range CPU, mid-range card at the time the game came out. VRAM, no specific VRAM requirements. RAM, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 50 gigabytes of available space, OS, Windows 7 or Windows 8.1. New specs, Ryzen 5 2600 or Intel Core i5 8400. That's a big jump. So if I look up, let's see, i5, and the 8400 is not that new. 8th gen Intel has been around for a while. But if we look up the 25K versus the, what did I say, 8400, let's see, in like just a percentage benchmark, I'm looking at, no Google, I'm not just going to take your word for it. It is on user benchmark. Take this with a grain of salt. User benchmark is kind of dookie. 24% uplift in performance. That's not incredibly crazy. On Technical City is listing a performance difference of 123%. This is why I don't like user benchmark.
Wow.
123% based on aggregated benchmarks. This is, let's see. This the 8400 has 6 cores. 2500K is a 4-core. I'm trying to see the actual like synthetic benchmarks. Oh yeah, so Passmark is a CPU widespread benchmark consisting of 8 different workloads. It scored, the 8400 scored a 9,232. The 2500K scored a 4,142. And that's out of 9,626 samples of the 8400 and 8,172 samples of the 2500K. So this is actually, from what it looks like, pretty good data. So 123% faster CPU. And the 1660, the GTX 1660 came out in 2019. And the GTX 660 2012, and we're looking at, we'll go back to Technical City to do a baseline, 187% difference in performance. But to be fair, the 1660 is fairly low end compared to a lot of other GPUs that we have today. It was 2019, yes, but it was budget 2019. The 16 series was after the 20 series. They are like the middle ground between GTX 10 series and 20 series. And they're like, hey, you want a little bit of a performance jump, but you don't want ray tracing. And that was 7 years ago. Right? So that's still a 7-year-old card, to be fair to CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
But I've never seen like a spec bump like this, especially for an 11-year-old game. Very interesting.
That's definitely the standout.
It's 12 gigs of RAM as well. It went up to 12 gigs of RAM. And now it has a VRAM requirement of 6 gigabytes, which most, if you have a modern mid-range to low-end card today, they probably have 6 to 8 gigs of VRAM. Interesting. I understand that they want to push the game more and enable the better hardware will help enable creativity for the developers. It's just really weird that they're going back to an 11-year-old game.
Yeah, it would be almost more expected to see something like this for the other game they have, Cyberpunk. But maybe that game is already at this standard? No. Doesn't seem like it.
Well, aren't they also working on a new Witcher?
Yeah, Witcher 4, they've announced it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer back when
it's definitely strange. I mean, maybe an attempt to drum up more interest, like bring people back in before they have the release, or maybe it's just to save people because the release isn't going to be for another however many years, given that they've only released a tech demo so far.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
I hope
it's certainly surprising news.
I hope you're not running a GTX 660. And
and if so, good luck.
Yeah, if you are, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to play The Witcher anymore, or at least you're not going to be able to play it well.
Yeah.
But also requiring an operating system. I don't know of any other examples. Maybe I just haven't seen them, but I don't know of any other examples that there's a lot of games on Steam that still say Windows 10. Yes, it's end of life, but they still will run. I'm gonna be interested to see if when this comes out in 2027, if people can just still get it running on Windows 10.
Yeah. It's interesting as well, because something they have announced, at least, for The Witcher 4, is that it's going to be in Unreal Engine 5.
Okay. I'm concerned,
I think
but also
some people are speculating that they might be trying to put Witcher 3 into UE5 as well.
Oh,
I don't think that's true, but it could be.
If they are, it would explain the spec jump.
Prototype. Yeah, early rollout to see if it actually works, and then they have to cover their ass.
You know, we didn't actually put this on our topic list, but Unreal Engine 6 did get announced.
Really? Already? When did UE5 come out?
I don't actually know. It came out 2 years after it was announced, though. UE5 release was 2025, but it was announced.
Released Gemini. I shouldn't do that.
Oh, that's not Unreal Engine 5, 2022. Yes, April. I'm looking at the wiki page. See.
Okay. Gemini wins again.
What's funny is I got a completely wrong answer. I got a wrong answer from Gemini, and I went to the wiki page.
No, my Gemini gave me a right answer. I guess it's better.
I was right about the 2 years. May 2020 was when they announced it. April 2022 was when it actually came out. So I would suspect that we're probably not going to see Unreal Engine 6 until 2028. But they did announce it.
I guess.
But what's funny is Gemini pulled up Europa Universalis UE5 or EU5, sorry. On Steam for $59.99. I specifically typed in UE5, not EU5.
Wow.
The Google search results showed me the Wikipedia page for Unreal Engine 5, but Gemini pulled up the completely wrong thing.
I typed in UE5 release date.
I just typed in release.
Answer,
See, this is why we shouldn't.
Yeah.
But when I type in date, I get the right information.
Got to be more specific. That's the key.
Yeah, that's why I. But the actual Google search result got me what I need to know. Anyway, Yeah, we're gonna be seeing. We'll probably hear more once we hear more about. If we hear more about Unreal Engine 6, we'll probably talk on it. But as we know, it's coming. I hope it's actually optimized because as of right now, Unreal Engine 5 runs like garbage on a lot of hardware. Very stuttery.
Wow.
It's not optimized. Okay. What do you think? We're going on to the next topic. I'm just gonna,
Nice.
end the
Nice
call
one.
here. We're going on to the next
Yeah, that's
topic.
good.
Industry is potentially going to pivot away from live service games. That's awesome. So we have written here in the document, are publishers finally realizing that not every game can be a 10-year platform, and are we going to see a return to robust single player or co-op experiences? What do you think?
Well, something to say is I think we talked a little bit about indie versus AAA, and I think this is becoming more and more of an indie versus AAA topic. In terms of indie has never really had live service as an option. But as we've discussed, indie is becoming more and more popular and shown to be more and more reliable, on average at least. And so I think it's not surprising, at least in my book, to hear that live service is kind of finding itself between a rock and a hard place in terms of people moving away from AAA and then thereby live service not paying the same dividends it did for AAA and them kind of coming to the realization that, well, maybe this isn't as effective as it once was.
Yes, and I think a great example of this is Subnautica 2 release. So it came out last week, right? Was that last week or was it the week before? Regardless, it came out in the last 2 weeks.
I believe it was last week.
Yes, last week. Subnautica 2 sold 4 million copies in the first week, generating roughly 100 million in revenue. And mind you, this is still early access. These are early access numbers. Sold 100 million copies in its first hour, 200 million copies in 12 hours, 4.1 million copies in less than a week. And in Steam alone, there was over 467,000 concurrent players on launch day, making it one of the largest early access debuts in history.
Yeah.
I think this is the gamers telling the gaming industry, this is what we want. High quality single player or co-op experiences, not another Call of Duty with a live service, with a battle pass, we're going to update this game, it's not finished, we're going to keep adding new content. They want good games.
Or at least games that are honest about being incomplete.
So I keep going back to Forza, and it is just what I'm playing right now. They are semi-live service. They're not like Battle Pass live service, but they are, hey, here's your festival playlist. Do these things in game and you can get these cars. But they're not like, give us $10 every 3 months for a Battle Pass. But like they did in this current game, they added a like used car sales mechanic. Because in the last game, it was, if you didn't play the festival playlist and you missed out on a car, sorry, you're not getting that car. Because if you want to buy it from another player, it's going to be a ton of money, or you're not going to see it on the player's market at all. They implemented a system where there will just be used cars on the side of the road, and every time you refresh on your map, there's a different car in that spot that you can go buy. So if you miss cars, they can be there. So it kind of gets rid of the FOMO that the previous Forza game had. So you could call this live service. But I just want to mention this is a strong single player and co-op game that's not like Battle Pass-esque for the trend that Fortnite started in gaming. And they did let's see, over 300,000 concurrent players peak. That was the peak during the first week, from what I can see. Whereas,
Wow.
so not as good as Subnautica 2, obviously,
Mm.
but I think it's another mention that this is people are really liking Forza, probably because a lot of gamers also like Place Japan, but also a lot of gamers just like for the niche that Forza is, because that is a niche. It is a racing game.
Sure, sure.
It's kind of shocking how many players they had. And I'm actually going to pull up the Steam DB for both of these games. We're going to do Subnautica 2 right now. Subnautica 2 currently has 50,000 players in game. 49,789. Mind you, it's a Wednesday, so this is probably not going to be peak. This is actually pretty low because Sunday they had 122,000 in game, and that was at about 8 p.m. Universal time, or 20 o'clock Universal time. Saturday they had about 130,000. So we are in the middle of the week. It is a Wednesday, so this number is not necessarily indicative, but I do think 50,000 players is still a lot for a Wednesday.
Right? Yeah, well, sure.
Because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they had anywhere from 120,000 to 130,000 players. Friday, when the early access dropped, it looks like, wow, that is a lot of players. At midnight or 0 Universal time, they had 376,676. That's just on Steam. That's not including the consoles. So now let's go check Forza. Forza Horizon 6 has 169,131 in game right now. And that's Steam.
Right. And
wow.
Yeah, they're only more on consoles, probably.
Yeah, the Xbox, not the PlayStation. So maybe not a ton. Well, there's still going to be a large audience, but you're not going to have like, oh, but it's every console gamer, just the Xbox gamers. But that's a lot. I'm pretty shocked. They had a 24-hour peak today of 220,000, and an all-time peak of what we were saying. This is official right from Steam DB, is 302,645. 302,645 players. I hope that the gaming industry sees this as a sign and starts to shift in the right direction.
It'd be nice.
But I think we've spoken on that, unless you have more thoughts on that. You're kind of a single player kind of guy. You don't really play live service games.
No, not ever. I mean, obviously, it'd be a good change for me in that regard.
Yeah, maybe we can get more quality games, more Cyberpunk 2077s.
More Spunk.
Well, maybe not the release of Cyberpunk 2077. We don't need more of those.
No, we're going to get more of that.
We are going to get more of that, but we already spoke on that last week. I'm going to do this one quick because we were already negative enough. I should have hit it in the beginning of the stream.
So quick.
Team Group CEO says RAM and SSD prices could keep rising, along with a potential rise for other PC parts as well. I saw something about over the quarter, things are projected to go up 30%. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an industry expert. But I'm also not surprised that this is happening.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that there.
No, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is over. Bungie announced the cancellation, but the ending of Destiny 2 after a really long run. And they have stated no plans for a Destiny 3. I didn't play that much Destiny 2, to be fair, so I can't really speak. But I was talking to a
Nope,
friend.
I played a little bit.
You did, or like how much?
I played
how
a
much?
little bit, not a lot. Certainly.
Okay.
Probably less than. Certainly less than 100 hours. I
That's
thought
a
I
pretty
played
big
it on
range.
Steam, but now that I'm looking it up, I can't find it. Yeah. Is it not on Steam? It was on Steam, right?
I thought it was. Well, while you look for
my
that,
account
I
because
was talking to a friend,
Yeah.
who big Destiny guy. Like he had like raid stories, and like he was doing all the
Huge shill.
events, and he was like, "Man, it's really sad to see it go, but also it's good. Good things must come to an end." He really enjoyed it. You know, that's subjective in a way. I don't have any personal opinions on Destiny 2. I thought it was fun. What I played of it, I thought was fun. I don't
Yeah.
remember how many
I
hours
played
I
about 10
put into it.
hours, I'd say.
10 hours?
A little
Okay,
more than 10, a little less.
that is certainly less than 100.
Remember it? It won't tell me. I don't know why it won't tell me, but
Was it on Steam? Yeah, I played
I have the option to leave
23.1
a
hours.
review, but it's not on my account, and I can't.
You removed
I
it
can't
from
look
your
at it,
account. You
so-
hated it that much.
I did. Yeah, it was actually that bad.
I played 23.1 hours of Destiny 2. Last played March of 2020. Clearly, it's been a minute.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I will say. Because I think the interesting thing about this, at least, is not that the live service is ending. I mean, that is obviously probably big money hit for Bungie, but the simple fact that they're doing this without anything on the horizon, really. And from what I understand, that's largely because there's a really strange term they're using. I think they're saying like an incubator or incubating. Basically, they're just dropping it to move on to projects that they're still in development, which just sounds kind of crazy to me. Because, I mean, obviously, what most people, at least I would assume, you could do is if these ideas aren't even close to completion, as incubating would imply, why not just keep even a bare bones team on the game that is already paying dividends instead of just dropping it?
Right. Yeah. Why drop it? Why end it? Do you think they could be thinking it's best to bring it to an end rather than to just let it become, for lack of a better term, slop? Like, oh, it's dying, but we're keeping it alive
yet.
Yeah, but
that's the thing, is that I mean, maybe I don't know the Destiny community like that, but it's a live service game that's been going on given the release date of 2019 on a little more than 6 years now. And like, it's been going for 6 years with consistent updates, and not to say that's a huge amount of time, but obviously, like, you're gonna run out of ideas if you're consistently releasing updates and content and expansions over the course of 6 years. At least I would say. I don't know. I feel like if you're willing to go that far, why not just keep going, I guess?
Yeah.
Because I feel like and given the reactions of fans for the most part, or at least the fans that have been highlighted, it does seem like most people are sad to see it go. So maybe it is like, maybe they are trying to pull the good guy move of like saying, well, we thought it was the time to bring it to an end. But more so, at least the reason they are giving a lot of the time is what I said, to move on to these incubating projects. And at least what I would say, one of the interesting things I would put into it at least, is that a part of this, I think I've seen some people speculate, is because Bungie was acquired. And they've been kind of traded around a lot between different studios, if I'm not mistaken.
PlayStation owns them currently, right?
I believe that's right. Sony owns them as of the moment. But I believe they had traded hands a few times, and I think it's interesting. Sony, bought Bungie for like 3.6 billion, crazy number, by the way. But hold on, I have all three articles open. I just need to lock in and find which one mentioned who's owned them.
They said they're going to shift their
Okay,
focus
maybe I'm
towards
just
the
writing this.
upcoming extraction shooter Marathon and
That's
incubating new unannounced IPs, following
Yeah,
a
yeah,
steady
that's
decline in active player engagement. And interestingly enough,
it's
to
just
our previous topic, the live service model becoming financially and structurally unfeasible to maintain without
yeah,
expanding into a brand new engine. So they're having game engine limitations too.
it is certainly a point in that regard. Yes, they used to be owned by Microsoft because they did Halo, right? Duh.
Yes.
But they initially acquired them in 2000, and they were founded in 1999 or 1991. Sorry.
Because the Halo Combat Evolved was going to be on the Mac. It actually was at an Apple conference where Steve Jobs showed off Halo Combat Evolved, funnily enough.
But my point is, or well, part of the point I'd like to make is I think, in my mind at least, this shows a strong parallel. Because I'm not necessarily saying this wasn't the studio's own choice, but to pull out, and I know, as I said, it's like we've shown the signs that this isn't exactly going to work out in the long term, but to pull out specifically to work on incubating projects, in my mind, that reads like they were told to pull out.
I think you're right. I think it's incubating projects. That's the executives and the stakeholders saying,
Right.
"Hey,
You got
Destiny
to come
2
up
is
with
not
something new.
making
This isn't
money
working.
anymore. We
Yeah.
need you to get a heavy hitter product for a marathon is coming. They probably have that date. Let's just say it's like Q1 2028 or something. I don't know. I'm making this up. But they're probably saying we need a heavy hitter product to hit this revenue by this quarter, and you have to do it or there will be layoffs.
Yeah.
Because we just saw
And
like companies like Epic lay off 1,000 developers from the
yeah,
Fortnite team.
yeah.
The dude who invented Fortnite Jonesy got fired. Crazy.
No, it's interesting, and I think, at least in my mind, this does have a pretty strong parallel. And I'm gonna be that guy real quick. With Bethesda. Not to say Bethesda has gone between all these different owners, but at least I know, especially Fallout has gone between 4, I think, different primary holders. Because I mean, now technically you would say it's Microsoft's, even though it's still Bethesda under Microsoft. But originally, I think it was Interplay and so on and so on. That's not the important part. But the important part is the idea that all of these buyouts, while are obviously good for the companies who want to make money, do over time dilute the product. Because I mean, I think the biggest example in the Bethesda field, aside from maybe Starfield, would be something like Fallout 76. Notably also live service, something that, at least personally, I feel they maybe might have done, but probably not in the same way if they had the independent decision to do so. If they
Yes.
had own control of themselves, because I mean,
Live service was the popular thing. Every company wanted a piece
and obviously
of
it was
that
making
sandwich.
people tons of money. And while Bethesda is not necessarily, how do you say, the most above board company at all times when it comes to their business practices and so on, just live service wasn't even in their, how do you say, toolkit. It wasn't even something they'd done. But here they come with the next big thing being a live service game that nobody wanted. And it's just, I don't know, it's such a conflict of interest when you have one company over you telling you what to do when they don't know, at the end of the day, a damn thing. But that's kind of been the thing for all time, really.
They got to listen to the stakeholders, yeah. I mean, it's why, despite, we talked about it last week, despite Nintendo reporting great profits from last year and on Switch sales, it was very likely these stakeholders who said raise the price of the Nintendo Switch 2.
Right. And I think another thing in that same way is because I think we mentioned it at least, but to say it again, uh, their focus is incubating projects, which is basically a direct confirmation, at least from a mission, that there is no Destiny 3 in sight. They don't really care about it. They don't have plans for it, or at least not at the moment. Even though I think Destiny 2 came out while Destiny 1 was still kicking, so to
Oh,
speak.
did it?
Um, I might be wrong. That's
And
just my
I do
dodgy
know
memory.
my buddy told me they did like a cool transfer thing when you got into Destiny
Right.
2, they did like a this is the day that you fought this enemy and this raid boss with these people and this is how fast you did
Yeah.
it and it really like hit with the players. And to
Right.
see
Right.
it
And I think
end is wild.
right. And I think another thing in my mind, at least a point to sort of bridge off to, is how sequels, because I think we've seen this in the movie industry a lot more maybe than the gaming industry, but still to some degree, sequels have started to pay off less, I would say. And maybe like this is different for franchises, certainly, but sequels is a different thing because sequels is not necessarily this new fresh concept with the same characters, the same base concepts. Sequel is the same game with maybe some extra stuff put into it, and I think it comes back, I think, to this whole thing where indie is starting to become bigger, where you have all of these people with new, fresh ideas that are using these old concepts that they see from the AAA side of the industry and putting their own spin on them
And doing it better.
and doing it better, and where the same AAA developers are putting out the same game again with slight changes and probably the same amount of bugs. It's
Every
just not
sports game.
right. It's just people. I think some people, at least, are starting to realize that this just isn't paying off. And I think another thing I didn't really mention when I brought up Tainted Grail in the last episode, I think because part of the point is you're not going to see an indie Destiny. I don't think it's very likely because it just requires more than can be done by a smaller development team with less resources.
Oh
It's a
yeah, that game was
huge game
huge. Yeah, that game was
that
huge.
has tons of players. It's just not as possible to manage. But once again, back to my Bethesda field. Um, Tainted Grail is an indie team that has done basically a Bethesda game. To their credit, it is like the same thing I would expect, still with various improvements on their side. Don't get me wrong, but I think my point with that is it's becoming more realistic as either software develops. I think something we will see with software starting to compensate for development is not only, how do you say, AAA's being lazy and using it to that advantage, but smaller developers being clever and using that to build projects that would normally be considered outside their reach. So I think aside from indie devs maybe not being able to hit the same genres and expectations, I think it's becoming more realistic. I'm still not betting on seeing a AAA Destiny, but I still feel like indie is becoming broader in what they can do
Yeah,
in
I
terms
don't
of
think we're gonna
size.
see vast open world to the level of detail and extent of a RPG style. You wouldn't
Well, that's my
see
thing though, is that's
indie,
what Tainted Grail does.
right.
So it's becoming more possible. It isn't exactly the same. It's more limited open world. It's not like full sprawling, but it's still big. It's still it's I think it's a good change. It's a good turn that I further think sequels would become less popular when you see people doing the same thing but better.
Yes, I mean a good like Dragon Ball's universe was Dragon Ball's universe, and then Dragon Ball's Universe 2 was Dragon Ball's universe but better.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think
that's not
anybody
bad, but it's just
yeah,
it doesn't
it built
have
upon
innovation.
yeah, it built upon an already established, and it was like, okay, this was bad. We're going to fix this. Here's how we can do it
Yeah,
better. Let's take a second after the success or whatever you want to call it of Xenoverse 1. How could we build upon this and make it better? And Xenoverse 2 was so much better. And Xenoverse 3
right.
got announced. I hope it's not just the same thing again, because one of the big
But that's the thing, is that it's the safe bet. That's what you know people like.
yes. And
And
people
you're
have been
always gonna
asking
get
for
people
it,
who
to
are
be
gonna get
fair.
right. No, and obviously people are gonna ask for it because that's kind of the standard expectation is once a game comes out, now you gotta wait for the sequel. But personally, I don't know, I've been stung one too many times now when it comes to the sequels, just not living up to the originals. And where I don't have as much faith in, say, like Elder Scrolls 6. I don't necessarily think it's gonna be worth anything.
Yep. Because is it
But
hype? Is it like, oh, we really like this, or we have nostalgia for this, we're getting a second one?
right.
Is it all hype, or will it actually be good? And I think you could be either side of that coin.
Right. And I mean it depends on the developer's history and the like. But
Yeah.
certainly, at least with AAAs, the bigger it is, the harder it's gonna flop if it isn't what people expect.
Do you think, and this is a great bridge, not only are live service games, they're losing money. Like Fortnite is
Right.
leaking money,
Right.
and that's why they're doing the things that they are, which is leading to publishers potentially realizing that not every game can be a 10-year live service. We already talked about that. But on that, AAA is either being a giant flop or really good.
Mhm.
What do you think is going to happen with GTA 6?
Um, honestly, I don't I don't think it's gonna live up to what people expect. I because I don't think there is a way it can conceivably do so.
I
With
don't
how
think so
long
either.
people have been waiting, with how people were impressed by 5 and what it did for the series. Because I mean, personally, and this might be a hot take amongst GTA fans, but GTA 4 was not it in my book. I like San Andreas and I liked Vice City for what it was. But GTA 4, I don't know, there's just something so not clunky. 4 is a strange game in my mind. I think a lot of people did like it, and I don't blame them. But 5 definitely fixed a lot of things with 4, and it, like yada yada yada. Like we were saying, it developed, it changed, and it created something that was interesting but still the same, and also had new stuff. Blah blah blah. I just don't think 6 can deliver after all this time, and after how successful 5 already was. I don't think it's possible.
So I also don't think that GTA 6 is going to live up to its hype. I think a lot of people are riding on the nostalgia of GTA 5. And I, just plain and simple, I don't think it's going to be that good. I could be wrong, and I want to be proved wrong.
Right.
But
I think that's the thing is yeah.
I don't think that they're going to have the same, how do you say, I don't think the same vibe's going to be there. I think
Right.
based on the fact that the team is different from
Hmm.
the first 3 and 4 GTAs, it's a completely different development team. A lot of the writers who wrote characters like Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, the characters that people really really like, as far as I'm aware, are not
Hmm.
working for Rockstar anymore. So
Yeah, and
it's
that
really
is
up in
a
the air if it's going to be good. From what I've read online, the newer GTA 5 expansions, people have not really been a big fan. of the newer content.
Yeah.
So
and that's another live service problem as well.
a lot of people
Just
are
with things
not
getting
like
old.
it
even.
was more of a GTA 5 online, expansions, not
Right.
necessarily the base game, but from what I've seen, it wasn't very critically acclaimed by the player base. So who's to say that 6 is going to be this banger? I don't know. I think a lot of the hype is blinding people from is it actually going to live up to it? And I think that the publishers are confident. What did we see last week? We saw an article
They're
saying,
overconfident. Let's be
yeah,
honest. Yeah.
they were bragging about how much GTA 5 is projected to make on release. And it's
GTA
also
6.
not
Yeah.
coming to PC
No.
day one, similar to GTA 5. GTA 5 didn't drop on PC day one. They are cashing in on that console market. And the console
certainly. And then they're going
manufacturers want to sell
attempt-
hardware for it.
Attempt to cash in on PC a couple of years later and get that double buy, basically.
Yep. And let's see. Are these hyperlinked here? They are.
They
Yes.
are.
So GTA 6 publisher is confident enough in its release to brag about the ungodly amounts of money it's about to make. Rockstar partner Take-Two Interactive has been adamant about the November 19th release date for GTA 6 is on track. Doubts have lingered. Game's already been delayed twice, as we've seen. Take-Two reaffirmed the date in the FY26 financial report and said it expects to make a lot, and let me emphasize, a lot of money on it. Now, to be fair, that's probably right. And based on how much money that they make from GTA 5 still, from like shark card purchases.
Yeah. I think you did have an article on that, right? Or a
I
leak.
believe
Yeah, there was
so.
a leak that stated in 2026 alone, up to April is when the leak was. They had already made on shark cards, or on GTA Online at least, which is mostly shark cards, $100 million.
Oh my! That's up to April of this year.
4 months into the year, and last year they made $400 million
on GTA Online alone.
And the same as the year before, and the years before that were even more. At the height of 2020, because probably pandemic, about 750,000. No, 50 million. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, such a big number.
Million. Crazy. It's crazy.
So
it's nuts.
I don't necessarily fault the publisher for saying, yeah, we're going to make a lot of money on this.
Right. No, it's given what they've seen, definitely. And as said, it's one of those things where I think you're kind of betting against the house if you say they aren't going to succeed, because it's already maybe not a household name. I don't think that's exactly appropriate for GTA 5's content.
But it's literally GTA 6.
But people know it. It's almost like what X before GTA 6. That's just something people say. It's not. It's beyond the pale of what a video game can be.
We got the end of Destiny 2 before GTA 6.
It's just one of those things where even if it ends up being a total turd, which even then I don't think even if it isn't successful, even if it isn't good, it's still not going to be bad.
Well, I'm going to take my comments of it being good, quote unquote, with a grain of salt, because that doesn't mean it's not going to sell well. And that doesn't mean people aren't going to look past maybe the story and writing isn't good. There's probably going to be a lot of people who are like, I don't care. I just want to play GTA 5 online. We're looking at the numbers of what they made from January to April in 2026 alone. Clearly, people like GTA 5 online. So there are going to be purchases just for GTA 6 online.
Oh, well, sure. And I think
something we have yet to acknowledge is kind of the opposite effect. We've talked a good bit about how people are starting to become dissatisfied, and yet on the flip side of that is how there's still probably thousands, hundreds, millions of people who are becoming content. People who have already purchased every single like NBA 2K that has come out and just are waiting for the next one and are just kind of falling into that routine of, well, maybe this next one will be good, maybe this next one will have something different, or maybe they don't even care at this point. Maybe they just want to keep playing and keep supporting. It's possible, I think, it's highly possible, like you said, that people are just going to make themselves content with it because it's something they've been waiting for what, 10 plus years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to buy it
So
regardless.
it's definitely going to be monetarily successful. I think we can take that out of the question. I just don't think it's going to live up to the standard. And whether or not that will impact Rockstar in the long run, I would say is still up in the air. But it's still, like, I'm being realistic, it's highly unlikely, even if it has the worst launch in history, that Rockstar is going to really fall from grace. Because they have such a loyal, dedicated fan base that they've amassed over time because of previous good, how do you say, what am I trying to say?
Good games, good...
I almost want to say good behavior. Good games, good products. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild to think that they're almost, in essence, unstoppable. It's kind of like Nintendo in that way, where they can kind of just do whatever they want because
Mario
they're the
Kart
only one giving
World,
it to you.
and it's, even if we criticize it, it's still gonna make money because it's Mario.
And
Kart.
To stop, how do you say, trying to pretend the future here, or well, I guess to continue trying to pretend the future, but on a different topic related to GTA 6. Do you think it's going to get delayed again?
It's been delayed twice.
Why not go for 3 times?
I might eat my words on this, but no. There's too much riding on this.
No, I agree, but then, I mean, arguably the first 2 times that was true.
I think based on, I saw something, you'll have to, like, there was money that was lost because of the last 2 delays.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Not from just Rockstar. It was console manufacturers and other other hardware sellers losing money because of GTA 6's delay.
Right.
Let me see. Let's see. Estimated to cost Rockstar hundreds of millions of dollars in lost value from time delays. I want to get a source on this, so I'm not gonna. r/gaming says GTA 6 delay could cost $60 million. But again, take that with a Yahoo Finance actually reported on it. Says that losses when you add it all up, some analysts think the real cost of GTA 6 delay could exceed $100 million. Others go even further and estimate the total impact could reach up to $500 million. They could still do it, but I think Sony, because of the console exclusive release, I think Sony and Xbox are riding on this release. We already see the hardware prices going up,
especially with the prices keep going up. Yeah,
strategically before the release of GTA 6. I know there's hardware, SSDs are going up in price, RAM is going up in price, but I don't think it's a coincidence that there has been another price increase. And Sony just this week, this is more news that we can talk on real quick. Sony has increased their PlayStation subscription for PSN, for PlayStation Network, by $2 a month. Now think about the amount of people who are going to subscribe to PlayStation Network when GTA 6 comes out because of GTA 6 Online. There is so much money at stake in this. I don't think they're going to delay it again. Or at least they're going to lose a whole lot more if they do.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's good reasoning.
I just think I think that'll come into the next question because I think I'd agree kind of for a different reason in that I think we could very well see another one what I'm dubbing update redemption from GTA 6. We kind of talked about it a bit last time in the sense if it were to release imperfect, I think even then there's less pressure because of the established standard of AAA releasing in what is essentially early access and being allowed to sort of patch it over time with updates. So I
Right.
think as you kind of for combined reasons of there's less pressure to release a finished game, I would say, now than ever. Obviously, I think some people would reasonably point out if you've already delayed twice and there's still issues with the game, what in the world were you doing all that time? But I mean, Cyberpunk got delayed multiple times.
and will we? Are we going to see another Cyberpunk? Like Cyberpunk barely ran on the PS4.
I don't think it's impossible. I think more and more games are pulling this where they feel they can get away with it.
Oh man!
So I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing.
Imagine
and
if we
still got it out and still made tons of money.
Imagine if we see like a game that it's console exclusive and it runs like garbage on said consoles. Imagine
I wouldn't be surprised.
like
Jeez.
30 FPS, stuttery. Well, guys, we're gonna fix it. We hear you.
We'll get to it eventually.
We'll get to it. We promise.
This is we already talked GTA 6 into the ground, I feel. Because I mean, I guess we could go over the fact that they aren't releasing in PC.
Well, and I think
because
because of the stake, the money.
Right, but we've also the real interesting thing, a quote I've heard picked out a lot, is Zelnick, who I believe is the current like head of gaming over at Take-Two. Yeah, Take-Two CEO.
Head of gaming.
Who owns Rockstar.
Yes.
Has gone on record to say that the primary reason, the official reason they are releasing on console first is because they're serving the core audience.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, that sounds like a load of shit. I don't think you need me to tell you that. And the primary reason most people think that's such a strange thing to say is because he had been talking, and obviously, I think it's one of those things where PC has expanded way more than I even like acknowledge. Because at least in this article, they're citing the fact that like back in 2007, notably, Take-Two is also 2K, so there you go. But you know, PC at that point in time was they're saying like maybe 5% of total sales, which is tiny, of course. But Zelnick himself has said and gone on record to say that with a big title, PC can be 45 to 50% of the sales, which brings into question, what in the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, but also it's
because
your
given
core
that you're
audience.
accounting for multiple different consoles, multiple different platforms, that would make PC not just a significant amount, it would make it
your core audience.
Half.
Yeah, it would
half of your sales being your core audience.
If your other core audience is split in roughly, there's probably a little bit more on PlayStation because PlayStation had better sales than Xbox. Let's make a number up. 45% is PC, 55% is console, and we'll do like a 35% on of that 55 is on PlayStation. That would make PC your core audience.
It's just crazy. And I said, I think it's because they expect part of it is what they had with GTA 5 and I think with Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2, that is to say. And technically the original Red Dead, since it's got a re-release, is they're getting people who have bought the game twice. They're getting people who want to play it so bad that they're willing to maybe even, I don't think it's unrealistic to say, maybe even buy a console to play that game. Not just to have a console and play on that console.
That's not unrealistic at all.
No.
They are
and
actually...
But it's crazy with how much money it costs now to expect that. And then, not only, but also expect later on when they do finally you crawl back to them and you beg and you say, please release it on PC. And they deign in like 2-3 years time to release it on PC. They expect you to buy it again because they know you're going to buy it again because you're a loyal consumer.
Yeah.
And that's how they see you.
And with the current PS5 Pro being $899 USD, that and a copy of GTA 6, I mean, it's gonna happen. Just like how
it's one of those
people.
things.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, just like how people go out and buy a Nintendo console just to play the Nintendo games. I know that's a bit. That's more games. That is more than just one game. People will be buying consoles. Sony. Right. I think these price increases are for more than just hardware. I think they know they're going to sell more consoles. These are already over 5-year-old consoles. They know they're going to sell more when GTA comes out, and I think that's a big reason on why they did it.
I've noticed there are some people who say, they can't stand the disrespect. They don't like the fact that it's not releasing on PC at the same time as console because they figure they can squeeze more money out of people who play on PC primarily. However, I think that's more of a vocal minority. I still think the majority of people are going to be willing enough to buy a console or already have a console and then play the game.
Yep. Which is, it's a wild take because you don't really see that. You used to back in the day see like, this game came out on console, this game's not on PC. You don't really see that anymore. We've got Spider-Man on PC. No. Of course, Sony reluctantly put them on there, and now Sony has actually been walking that back. Sony was putting their exclusives on Steam about a year after their release, but they're starting to walk that back because they're realizing that they can make more money on hardware if they keep their games exclusive because it will drive people more of a reason to go buy a PlayStation. They won't have a reason to go buy a PlayStation if they can just wait a year and then they can play the new God of War.
For sure.
So,
and I think another thing, kind of bridging off of that, is that idea of the dual income. And I only saw one person like in the comments of one of these articles talking about it, but I thought it was a really interesting point. They brought up the idea, sort of wondering what GTA 6 Online is going to be about. And not in the sense of like, oh, I wonder if they'll have more heists, but more in the sense of how is Rockstar going to make it almost less of a replacement for GTA 5 Online and more of an alternative. In other words, they're asking,
stop their revenue from
is Rockstar going to try and make it like dual channel income? Not just you can play GTA 5 Online, but now you're supposed to come over to GTA 6. But rather, how are they going to keep making money off both?
Oh,
and I think that's a really good point because obviously they're going to try to, and they at least suggested that maybe like GTA 6 will almost have more roleplay elements built in because of like the popularity of things like GTA roleplay servers and stuff like that, or just how is it going to be a different experience from 5 to make it compelling?
How can I get you to buy a shark card? And on GTA 5 and buy a shark card on GTA 6.
Right. And I think that's a really good point. However, if I'm to be honest, what I really expect them to do is to repackage the experience of 5, redevelop it, like have it be relevant to the new characters and the new location, and have different missions, still essentially the same thing, and still expect people to play both. I think people still will play both. I don't think they actually care enough. I think that person made a great point, and honestly, I feel like that would be a great way for Rockstar to pivot into having these two online services and still almost at least make it feel worth the investment of time and potentially money into either. But I still think it's more likely they're just going to go for a rehash.
I want to mention it's probably going to be the same. We were just talking about sequels, right? I think people like it. Yeah. It's known to make money. It's the safe option.
Right. It's proven. Yeah.
I also want to mention, I want to fact check myself. Dan Houser, co-founder, lead writer, primary creative director behind GTA 5, left the company in March 2020, founded his new studio called Absurd Ventures. Michael Unsworth,
Oh yeah.
vice president of writing, who co-wrote GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, left in 2023. Has
Yeah.
since joined Dan
Yeah.
Houser's Absurd Ventures. And Laszlo Jones, longtime writer, producer, voice actor, who contributed heavily to the satire and radio stations in the GTA series, left Rockstar in 2020 and also joined Absurd Ventures.
Wow.
So, this
Yeah,
is
and I
where
think
my opinion comes from, where I'm saying if these are the
yeah.
people who wrote the banger that everybody says GTA 5 was, and where
Mhm.
their nostalgia and hype comes from, they're not there anymore.
Right. Right.
Is it still going to be good? That's up to the people to decide.
That's the question. Um no. I think another big thing, another big point of interest is on that like same line of thinking. Actually, what did you just say? Sorry, I'm losing my mind.
I said the main writers left the
Right,
company.
writing teams. I think we've seen that once again. It's another thing with sequels is that the old guard who had made these games you know and love and so on have sort of fallen away and become replaced by a new team that you might have no interest in. Um, I know certainly, just to cite another industry example that got my goat, um, Dragon Age, the Veil Guard.
Ho 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 ho.
By God, that is a
Universal
wreck
flop.
of a mess. It was so because like people had been questioning. I had been questioning Dragon Age. I wasn't exposed to it until Inquisition had already come out, but there was already reason to question EA with Dragon Age when Dragon Age 2 came out because 2 was almost purposely designed to try and draw an action audience market. Which is just like such a shitty thing to do when you have like a traditional RPG for your first game. Um and obviously that's what people want with the second game. That's the point. Is like another almost a counterpoint is if you change a game too much, you're going to lose your audience, and that's what happened with Veilguard at least. Sorry, I'm going off topic. I know, but I just have to say it. There's just so little substance to Veilguard. It's just so dumb. There's no like significant conflict between the characters that allows them to further bond. It's so not like PG, but so meh from what I've seen of it. It doesn't deliver on anything the previous games had established as, you know, the core themes of Dragon Age. Ugh.
Right.
And I
So
think
all that to say,
potentially we could see something similar with GTA 6.
yep, that's
where
exactly what I was just about to say.
that sort of off, how do you say, off kilter, not inappropriate. Well, inappropriate is the right word. There's a word I'm looking for that's not coming to me, but that humor, that same sense of writing and the way the characters are portrayed, all could be totally different because it's just not the same people.
Yes. The creative direction is completely different. But I think we've beaten that horse to death.
Whatever. Beating horses is fun.
I think is that what you do regularly?
No.
Oh, okay. I think we could end it on this topic. We are
Yeah.
We're getting there. Short topic: Star Citizen blasts through $1 billion in player funding as its developer lists a new $5,000 spaceship for sale that is not yet ready to play.
Crazy. Yeah, and that's, I think it does mesh into the previous topics we've touched upon. In terms of loyalty. Because I mean, would you consider Star Citizen AAA? But it's not exactly
It's
indie
crowdfunded.
either, right?
It's crowdfunded.
It's crowdfunded.
So I don't know if you would call that AAA because it's crowdfunded, whereas like most AAAs are big
But
studios.
it is still a huge game.
It is. Cloud
And I
Imperium
think
Games.
that is another way that a lot of more third-party developers can reach the AAA. How do you say?
Crowdfunding. Yeah, the AAA money.
Size.
The AAA money
Crowdfunding.
could be. But at what point do you have a big enough team that you're not indie anymore?
Right. That's the question. And I think people do sometimes make reference to like AA games.
Yes.
In terms of like mid-sized, mid-range studios who are starting to encroach on the AAA market, but don't exactly have the same background, resources, established nature. But that is a crazy amount of money
Yeah, that's like so. This makes
for a game that isn't even fully released.
this makes Star Citizen one of only 2 games to have a known $1 billion budget, other than apparently Monopoly Go. But most of that
Really?
budget in Monopoly Go was spent on marketing. There are a few games that have been
Wow.
rumored to have plus $1 billion budgets. Those being Call of Duty Black Ops 6, billion. Make sure I'm saying billion, not million. And apparently GTA 6 is on this list. And also there's been mentions of Fortnite, given what they spend on all their brand crossovers. So, yeah, that's a lot of money. For crowd-funded game, that's a lot of money. That's crazy.
Yeah. No.
Apparently it's free until May 27th, today. So if you weren't playing Star Citizen for free, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
It was an annual Defense Con event where you can test out all of its spaceships for 0 cost. But that is over today. I'm going to go buy a $5,000 spaceship. It's not ready to play yet. I'm going to go buy it.
Sounds
because that sounds like something I'm going to go do.
Fun.
Yeah. No. Why use $5,000 anywhere else? I could either I could go buy a 5090, or I could buy a spaceship, and spaceships are a lot cooler. But unless you have anything else to say, I think that's where we can leave it. I'm gonna go spend $5,000 on a spaceship.
Yeah, I'm gonna go spend not that actually.
Okay.
I don't have that much money.
I can
But if I
give you a
did-
loan. I'll give you a loan so you can buy the spaceship.
Yeah, you
too.
can. I'm actually gonna go see my CPA and get a loan before.
We're gonna go, and it's gonna be the GGA spaceship. I think it's a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
But
It's only fair.
I want to thank everybody. If you made it this far, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd like
But
to
also
thank
thank
you
you.
for making this far.
Yeah, I want to thank you for making it this far, because
Not like the audience. You.
me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I didn't think you
For-
could do it.
Like, because you
Personally.
criticized Bethesda today, and that took courage.
Dude, wow. So true.
Yep, that
I've
took.
changed. What can I say?
Yeah, it's like removing the headphone jack. It was courage.
Jack. Oh yeah.
No, headphone
dog?
jack. No. But
Dude, I think we're
With
getting off topic.
thank you for watching the GGA Podcast, Gaming and Gaming Accessories Podcast. And we will
Wow.
see you in the next video.
Wednesday.
Bye-bye!
Ideally.